down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I got to turn that microphone up. What's going on, all you scallywags, nutmeggers, conversationalists, and I'll never forget you haters. You know I love you. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. I will say to my wife, whom I love very, very dearly, thank you for forgiving me partially. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. It ain't all roses. Sometimes it gets a little heated. We had a really bad fight the other day. And it's people always say, it's like, why would you even talk about it? I used to get that all the time. I was like, man, you talk about some of your personal stuff on the air. Why? Because I'm human. And sometimes, believe it or not, this is very true. Roseanne keeps me at peace until she doesn't. But she keeps me at peace. And when she's okay, you know, people always say that, right? Happy wife, happy life. Yeah, I get it. But outside of that, she does. When she's okay, I'm okay. And when she's not okay, I'm usually not okay. And it bothers me. It affects my mood and my chakra. It does. I say that sort of tongue-in-cheek, but not so much tongue-in-cheek. It does. Roland, have you ever had that happen to you where there's some disharmony, that can be described, in your home, that it affects your entire day?
Disharmony in my home?
Yeah, like when you and your wife are at odds about something, be it really, like maybe a serious dispute that you just can't get past, and it sort of irks at you because we're not all emotional creatures, but sometimes whatever the argument is, if you're really ticked off about it, it actually starts to affect your daily life.
Yeah, I don't let it affect my day, though.
You don't?
No.
You can compartmentalize that well.
No, I make it a point to be happy once I leave her presence. I make it an actual point on myself to do something that I know is going to make me happy.
Really?
And then I'm happy until I get back to the situation.
So you don't rely on the harmony of the relationship to get through your day. I kind of do.
Oh, no, not. I will, if I leave the house and we haven't resolved the argument, I will go and get a meal that I know she really likes and we both like, and I'll get that meal, and that'll make me feel a whole lot better because I know I got it without her. And then I'll go through my day and be happy until I can get back home and resolve the
That is absolutely spiteful. But now, if you threw it in her face, that would be different. No,
I'm not sending pics or anything.
Yeah.
It's just for me personally to make myself feel better, to know I got away with one.
Now, that's kind of funny. Ruthless and mean, but still funny. Okay, I totally get that. But me, I feel like I've developed a relationship with Roseanne. Can I say dependent? I guess.
Oh, my goodness.
I know it is. It sounds codependent a little bit. Now that I'm hearing it out of my own mouth, it sounds a little codependent. But you know what? I like it. I like the fact that there's harmony with us. And we do need those moments where we're out of focus or disjointed, if you will. It makes you relate. It makes you appreciate, or at least me. I can't say for everybody else. I can only speak for myself. It makes me appreciate my relationship more when we can get into those moments, because you never know what the limits are. Like how bad it can get. So right now, we're getting back to normal. We had really a nice, let's say a nice, but nice is a poor choice of words. It was a serious blowout. And, I have a tendency to say things that are on my mind that should have been crafted better, considering that I'm in communications. But I was heated, and I said some things that I probably could have articulated better, and I didn't. And I have to suffer the consequences of her feelings, which take precedence. They do.
Man. I mean, to a certain extent.
Yeah, I get it. I know. But so, yeah, I had to work through it, and, we're getting back to normal, hopefully. Tonight we'll go to the Christmas party. Maybe things will smooth over, before then. But, what's that, about 4 hours away. And then we'll go to the Christmas party. Maybe we'll dance a little bit and have a good time.
Dance? Oh, you're a dancer?
Yeah, I always dance with my wife. I've got to dance with my wife.
Oh, nice.
She considers that a very romantic gesture to dance with her. And every time I do it, she beams when I do. In fact, I surprised her not too long ago. When we were in San Antonio, we went to see her father play in the band. He's in this band. It's actually an accomplished band called Daniel y Aventura. And they are not bachata, they're a Tejano band, but they play a little bit of rock and roll, but they have a couple albums out. Anyway, they were performing at an event, and while we were there, they played merengue, and Roseanne didn't know that I actually used to dance professionally. I was paid to dance. No, not in a strip club.
Oh, okay.
Not in a strip club. Real dancing.
Real dancing.
Real dancing. And she didn't know that I knew how to dance merengue. So we were at this nightclub where her father was performing, and this merengue song came on, and she was like, "Take me up to dance." And she thought that I was going to, be all thumbs. And then she realizes that I actually can dance merengue. She was like, "Holy!" And she said it was the most attractive I ever looked in her life, is that I actually knew stuff other than like hip hop, dance, which I did, study as a kid.
I know how to do all that too.
Yeah, you have to. So
that's because I dated Latin girls, though. You
dated a lot of Latin girls.
Yeah. I actually thought I was gonna marry.
Really?
Yeah. I was so enamored with the Latin culture.
Was it a particular flavor of Latin? Was it like Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
Dominican Puerto Ricans. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you some stories behind the scenes. So
they taught me how to do all the dances, and
really?
I ate all the good food.
Bachata's really, really big.
Yeah.
With the Puerto Rican community out here. Anyway, but back to my point. So we're finally back, like we're getting back to, some normalcy, kind of some forgiveness, and letting each other know, yes, I'm upset, but I still love you. This is always going to work itself out. Right now it's just tense. And, we'll go to the party tonight. We'll dance a little bit. Hopefully she'll feel better. So we're on the mend.
And you also got to understand too, you guys are in a hotel. It's a little bit, it gets a little bit, what's the word, claustrophobic?
Yeah, it is. We really don't spend a lot of time away from each other.
Yeah, well, when you're on the radio.
Yeah, exactly. Just when I'm here. That's it. It's just work. So, yeah, we're going to work it out. And, I can't wait to get to the holiday party or the Christmas party.
This is going to be your first one?
This will be my first one.
Okay, yeah. Yes. Yeah, you're going to have a good time. I wasn't going to go, but...
You're going now?
Yeah, I think I'm going to drive up there for an hour or so and just...
That's all you need, just an hour. You make an appearance,
They said they had a mashed potato bar, so,
A who?
Mashed potato bar.
There's a mashed potato bar.
Allegedly.
Is this
I just want to see what that is.
So do I. Now I want to know what that is. I'm completely obsessed with it now.
So it must be, they probably have the mashed potatoes in one bin, and then they got all the little sour cream, bacon bits.
Is that what it is?
Well, that's what I'm assuming. I could be all the way wrong, but that's what I'm assuming. People could put whatever they want on it.
Now when I walk in, the first thing I'm going to say is I'm going to ask somebody, point me to the mashed potato bar. I will. Thank you, Roland. Yeah. Anyway, so we got all of that, and I just wanted to get that out of the way, to just sort of make an apology, if I could, to my wife. And she, I hope, like I said, hopefully tonight I'll make it up to her. And I was going to say something, but she got so mad, she almost said, "I don't want to do the radio show anymore." I was like, "No! Are you kidding me? These women will kill me. They love Roseanne." But that's how it got a little heated. It was like that a little bit. But she's fine. She'll be back here, ladies. Don't Don't flip out. I know that you'll immediately blame me, which, fair. I do. I deserve it. I deserve it. Speaking of saying things that you shouldn't say, this week was a lot of banter about Donald Trump's Truth Social post about Rob Reiner. And a lot was made of it. In fact, I'm sending an email to Eric Erickson's folks, who's on right before this show, to see if he can actually come on my program, because he was one of the biggest critics of Donald Trump's Truth Social post. So I'm going to ask him to come on to have a discussion about that, because I wholeheartedly disagree with Eric Erickson on this. And a host of some other things about the midterms that he has been making claims about. And I, in essence, kind of want to challenge him. I know people call up. He takes callers on the show. There haven't been a lot of people who have pushed back on him and his statements. But I want to have – I've listened to him in the last week or so while I'm here preparing. And I was like, you know what? I would really love to have him on to talk about some of his points of view on some of this Donald Trump stuff. So hopefully we'll work that out so he can come on the program and have that discussion. I'll keep you posted on that. Speaking of guests, on Friday we have Ryan Fazio, who's going to be here. Actually, he'll be at the Avon Old Farms Hotel on Friday at 4 o'clock. We'll talk to him about his campaign, where it is, his fundraising efforts, and some of the policies he's running on. In fact, today I'm going to focus a great deal on affordability and direct that towards Democrats, because they've got a lot of splaining to do on affordability, especially here in Connecticut. And what I heard recently, people in Connecticut should be outraged as it pertains to the big, beautiful bill. I'll explain later. But this thing about commentary, about people who are making comments about Rob Reiner's death, or anyone's death for that matter, there are people who appear to be hypocrites. Nothing new. I get it. But there isn't enough pushback by public officials. So Republicans, those who listen to this show, I'm going to say this one more time. I know that you're busy. I get it. I know that you have other things and you are strategizing or whatever the case may be. But you have got to get outside of the little bubbles you're in and start pushing back on this commentary. Let me explain. You have to start pushing back on people like Chris Murphy. You got to start pushing back on guys like Senator Blumenthal, even on Jim Himes or John Larson, who, by the way, where's he been? Anybody seen him lately? Am I missing? Is it me or John Larson's not been around? I almost feel like he's missing in action. Anyway, whenever you hear these people or see these people tweeting or making commentary, you guys have got to be vocal about it. And you've got to be vocal everywhere. And I mean everywhere. And it takes 5 minutes of your time. You can't let these guys seize the narrative. Because while Chris Murphy, Jim Himes, and Blumenthal were talking about Trump's remarks as they pertain to Rob Reiner, these were some of, Jim Himes in particular, who took no issue with Senator Anwar's comments or picture talking about cholesterol do its job, talking about the President of the United States, in essence wishing for his death, where Connecticut Democrats put out a statement supporting Senator Anwar. Where were the Republicans on that? And they should have been louder, even if they were. We're not going to let that slide. It's not going to happen. We're going to continue. And I tell you guys, I'm going to continue to contact them. By the way, in particular, I'm going to continue to call Jim Himes' representative. And I'll show you just how much of a coward these people are. This is actually true. This is 100% doubt. I mean, without a doubt, true. Let me get to this. Who is this? Where? What is her name? This young lady's name is Nora, who is the communications or press person for Jim Himes. I have called this woman 3 times already. Called her once on Saturday night, in fact, to tell her that we wish to speak to Jim Himes. And I said in my conversation with her, please do not ignore my phone call. If he's not going to come on, send me a text. To which she has said nothing. I called her again today, and she sent me directly to voicemail, which is exactly what I expect them to do, not to respond to media questions or media requests, because that's what they do. But nonetheless, that's what Republicans should be doing. They should be contacting Nora and asking her to give a statement, or for Jim Himes to make a statement about his support for cholesterol do its job when talking about the death of the President of the United States, and then have the audacity to start clutching the pearls about Donald Trump's comments as it pertains to Rob Reiner. You've got to start calling and demand it. And when they don't, and when they say nothing, when these representatives go into hiding, tell everyone that they're hiding, that they're ducking, that they're hiding, that they're cowards, that they're afraid, that they throw stones and hide their hands. That's got to be the narrative from now on. When we get back, I'm going to talk to you about affordability, because that is something that everyone should be paying attention to. Aaron Stewart, Ryan Fazio, I'm talking to you. There is a wealth of information that shows that Connecticut has no interest in helping nutmeggers save money during this so-called affordability crisis. And I'll break all of those down when we get back, so stand by. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio. Affordability is on everybody's lips. And while I hear these people keep talking about the midterm elections and saying how the immigration crisis is going to lose Donald Trump votes, saying that Hispanics are leaving Donald Trump in droves, my argument there is midterm elections are always, let's just say, slim pickings at best. And there's still plenty of time. We are sitting in December and the Christmas time of 2025. There is January all the way up to November to craft a message to make it clear that Democrats want no parts of fighting for the American people and making their lives affordable. And they have to keep driving that home. But you might ask, well, Reese, where's the evidence of that? Well, there is. And because you can't read everything everywhere, that's my job. And as I said in the last break, Aaron Stewart, Ryan Fazio, you might want to listen. Connecticut just released its September jobs numbers. The job losses say Connecticut shed about 5,700 jobs in September. The first monthly decline in a while, bringing the total payrolls down from a 17-year high in August. The unemployment rate stayed at 3.8%, which is still below the national average, which has been climbing. Labor force decline dropped 5,400 people, continuing a trend of a shrinking workforce, down 12,800 since January of this year. The sectors that were hit, the biggest losses, were in healthcare and social assistance. That was down 1,700 jobs. Connecticut's largest sector with 297,000 jobs. Other private sectors saw broad declines. Year over year, still up 4,500 jobs from September of 2024, but growth is sluggish, mirroring the national slowdown. The report delayed 6 weeks because of the federal shutdown. But that was also the reason why the governor's office is saying that these declines took place. They're saying because of the federal government shutdown. That turns out to be nonsense because, again, as I just read to you, the majority of the jobs that were lost came from the private sector. They did not come from government jobs. But even if that were the argument by Ned Lamont and his office or any of his surrogates, you'd have to ask the simple question. Is Ned Lamont saying that Connecticut is overrun with government jobs? That's not what we consider a jobs plan as governor. It isn't. More and more government jobs is not employment. It isn't. You have to be growing the private sector. It also lends to the question, is Governor Lamont doing that? Answer, we all know. No. Absolutely not. The issue is mostly in the private sector, like healthcare. No direct federal jobs, which only dipped modestly. They were only down 400 federally in Connecticut. 400. That's how many jobs were lost in Connecticut, federal jobs, 400 of them. Connecticut's economics woes predate the latest federal drama. High taxes, sky-high energy costs, regulatory burdens, and migration. They've all played a role. These are all Lamont's programs. These are all his remedies for success. He has everything to do with this. And he's promoted it over and over and over again. When you ask the question to Governor Lamont, hey, Governor, why aren't businesses coming to Connecticut? Why is there no job growth in the private industry here in Connecticut? Let me run a few by you. Sky-high energy costs. That's just coming from regular folks. But remember, businesses have to pay those as well. There's also strict environmental permitting and compliance rules, specifically from DEEP, the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. They require detailed permits for emissions, waste, and recycling, like e-waste laws, forcing manufacturers to fund recycling programs. Delays and costs pile up, deterring expansions for new plants. Paid family and medical leave mandates, plus overtime rules, which we'll get into in a minute, because that's a key role in all of this. Overtime rules. Employers fund state programs up to 12 weeks of paid leave. Mandatory overtime counts toward leave entitlements. This adds unpredictable staffing and payroll burdens for shift-based manufacturing. Here are the top regulations that are hurting the tech companies in the state, which you know that Governor Lamont's always talking about bringing to the state. The Connecticut Data Privacy Act. He's expanded that. Strict rules on collecting and using personal data with lower thresholds, catching more businesses and tech firms dealing with user data facing hefty compliance costs. Fines up to $5,000 per violation. Their staff efforts to mandate disclosures for AI interactions or regulate development add uncertainty. Small tech startups see this as a burden that pushes them to locate elsewhere, like, Texas, Florida. They're not coming here. General regulatory and overload and licensing hurdles. Excessive permitting and occupational licensing slowdowns. Hire skilled tech talent and to launch new products. Can't do it here. Financial industries, forget about it. They're not coming here. And remember, we're going to be seeing a mass exodus out of New York. They're definitely not coming to Connecticut. And Lord knows they could use them. There are a bunch of problems. And again, these are all Lamont policies. All of them. But remember, I said earlier that the paid family leave and the mandatory overtime rules, this is an interesting thing that I learned today. And this one should blow your mind. And if I'm going to run on anything, I would run on this. Where's Jim Thune? Here he is. I got it. There we go. So an article by Blaze came out yesterday, I think. right? I think it was yesterday. And the article talks about Senate Majority Leader Jim Thune. And he's criticizing states that are going to ignore the big, beautiful bill. What things are they going to ignore? Let's run a few by you. Actually, let's first talk about the people who are ignoring it. Several Democrat governors and legislatures say that they're going to ignore it. Janet Mills of Maine, Kathy Hochul of New York, J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. They're opting out and not aligning state tax rules with the federal changes. This is going to force residents to shoulder higher state tax burdens, robbing low and middle income households of their deserved breaks and worsening affordability problems. Connecticut is one of those states. They are. Connecticut has chosen to opt out. It says here, Connecticut is among the blue states effectively opting out or not conforming to key provisions of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, specializing in popular no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. These are supposed to start in 2026. It means that residents won't get the full pass through benefits at the state level. Connecticut is using a rolling conformity approach to the Federal Internal Revenue Code in some areas, but these new above-the-line deductions, tips up to $25,000 and overtime premiums up to $12,000 or $25,000 joint phased out for higher incomes in the state. They indicate that they will not conform, either by default policy or explicit decisions to ignore them. No legislation or executive action from Governor Ned Lamont or Democratic-controlled legislator have updated conformity to include these worker-focused breaks. They haven't even addressed them. Why would anybody let that slide? No one is talking about it. It's the end of the year. And the One Big Beautiful Bill takes effect in less than a month. That's right, 2026. Connecticut is opting out. Where are the stories about it? Where's the campaigns about it? Where is anyone talking about it? I don't see anyone. I thought the question was affordability. I thought that was the story of the day. I thought that was the story of the country. But here's Connecticut talking about we need to make life more affordable. Here's another story. What was the quote of Ned Lamont? Let's read it. Ned Lamont says electric bills are too damn high. Well, that's interesting. Why did the guy push for zero emissions before 2040? Why did he go straight renewable? Does anybody remember the electric car mandate that he had to abandon? How has this guy made it easier for anybody? And again, why is no one talking about it? All of these things are evident. It took me 2 minutes to get everything. And this is the platform that everyone who's a Republican should be running on or should have run on this past November. And they should be hammering it. When you see one of these articles or one of these news agencies talking about affordability, we should be on the phone with them saying, yes, you're right, there is an affordability problem in Connecticut. And here's the reason why. And give them all of this data. And ask Lamont, well, what are you doing about it? I told Ryan Fazio, there is a picture in the newspaper showing Ned Lamont at an expansion of a food pantry called Friendly Hands Food Bank. Karen Thomas, who's a friend of this show, friend of mine, had Ned Lamont come all the way out there to promote a food pantry that went from 2,500 families being served to 11,000. And the governor took a victory lap and no one said a word. And then have the audacity to get on the news and scream affordability. Shame on everybody. Shame on every person who is not seizing on this. You want to look at a 56% approval rating of a governor? Bull. That polling is weak. And anyone and everyone who knows about it should be held accountable. They should be made to repent. News media, too. And every Democrat in the state. We'll take a break. We'll be back.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
I heard you say a minute. It just seemed like it just went by so damn fast. Anyway, like I said, we're going to be talking to Ryan Fazio. We'll talk about all of this and more, especially the affordability issue, as well as a bunch of other things that he talked about at his Colchester meet and greet. We'll get to a lot of that. There's some things that he addressed that he believes that many in the state are not aware of. And they were sort of spitballing ideas on how to get more and more people involved, especially as it pertains to the housing bill that was signed that so many people are livid about, that should be overturned, but won't be unless there is a change in leadership. And that starts at Ned Lamont, as well as everywhere else. And, you know, Connecticut may think, or many people in Connecticut think, that it is a lost cause, but I am here to tell you that, you know, you guys have got to, you guys got to come around. It's not a lost cause. It isn't. And I've seen the data that supports it. And tomorrow we're going to talk about just that. A very controversial, and I know that she's controversial to a lot of you if you've read the local newspapers about her. Linda Sinkowitz is going to be on the program tomorrow. Linda is the head or the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. And she is the woman that I spoke 2 weeks ago. And I sat in her office and went over with her about all the evidence of voter fraud right here in the state of Connecticut. And it is ugly. It is despicable. Bridgeport is nothing compared to what's happening in the state, and the state knows it, all the way up to the Secretary of State. Everybody knows it, because everyone I've spoken to, they all know it, but they're afraid and scared to death to talk about it, not sure why, other than the fact that the media is going to write about them and call them conspiracy theorists. But why would you care? If you really think that the American people, and for that matter, people in Connecticut, draft their opinions from the news media outside of just radical leftists in this state, you're crazy. And you're just feeding into that narrative that you're some kook, and you know you're not. We all know you're not a kook. And at this particular point, really, I mean, do you really think that voter fraud isn't happening? And do you really think it's happening at such a small scale? Oh, it's here and there. There's no widespread fraud. Really? What, you know, the part that always makes me laugh is that people use words like, and they always have, you know who you are. George W. Bush didn't win the election. He was installed. He didn't win. He was installed in the office of the president. I used to love that. You know, it used to be widespread voter fraud. It was widespread voter fraud in 2020. In 2000, I apologize, in 2000 in Florida. And then the same argument was made in Ohio in 2004, George W. Bush's reelection. So, again, I'm always lost on exactly what it is that people believe on which day. So, Linda Sinkowitz, I'm pronouncing her name poorly. Linda Sinkowitz, the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud, will be here tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We'll spend an hour with her, because what I want her to explain to you and educate you on is how the fraud is happening, and to explain to you that it is not, and I repeat, it is not dribs and drabs here and there. It's nothing as simple as the Wanda Patakis of the world. and this little ticky-tack fraud you're hearing here and there. It is over-the-top fraudulent, and they know it. One clearly sad part about it is that some Republicans, and I'll talk about this after we do headlines, a lot of Republicans here in the state, I say to you all the time, you guys are sitting at home and you think that the election is just going to come to you, or you've decided to sit it out saying, we're never going to win. You're wrong. You're 100% wrong. But I'm not relying on you. I'm relying on folks who can go in places. I was talking to Morgan Cunningham today, and I'll get into this probably in the next couple hours. Talking to him, you may have heard yesterday, Joey and I were talking about maybe Morgan Cunningham for run for governor once he turns 30. I had a conversation with him. He's going to be on the program too. We'll talk to him about that, but you will be surprised at what he said when I mentioned it to him today. We got to get to the top of the hour news coming up. When we come back, we got headlines, the stupidest thing I read today. Here's John Silva. He is in the WTIC newsroom. We'll be back.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
All right, let's get to some news. Another statistic we should be looking at, Republicans. In Connecticut, homelessness has risen by 10% over the past year, affecting 3,735 recorded unhoused individuals, including hundreds of children, with shelters and soup kitchens turning away 1 in 5 people due to overwhelming demand. Homelessness in the state has grown more severe, with people living in tents, cars, and encampments. And seniors are increasingly without shelter, exacerbated by recent, as they put it, Trump administration actions, according to Senator Anwar and photographer Phil Farnsworth, documenting the unhoused in Hartford. He is blaming, get this is serious. This is out of a Hartford Current article. They are saying that it is Donald Trump's administration, that people in Connecticut are unhoused or homeless for that matter. That's, again, the Hartford Current, never once pushing back on Senator Anwar. Never once. The Coalition to End Homelessness notes prolonged shelter stays and systemic issues, including proposed U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development changes that could cut 50 to 70% of funding for the Continuum of Care program serving 9,000 people. I would cut the program if I'm giving you more and more money and more people have ended up homeless. The program hasn't been cut yet, and the growing number of people who are homeless continues to grow. Oh, that was redundant, but you get my meaning. Implication includes heightened risk for teens who fear illness or suicide, and for individuals facing overdose or death without support. As invisibility and resource shortages fall vulnerable populations despite Connecticut's wealth, because they're not donating. Might I remind you of the holiday store? Anyway, reactions feature Anwar and Farnsworth in this article, their efforts to humanize the crisis through photos and calls for more funding, particularly for 211 services or 211 services, social workers, and detox facilities. Perhaps maybe contact the folks over at Salvation Army for ideas on how these guys can be helpful to the growing number of homeless people in the state. That's all I'm saying. A jury in Bridgeport, Connecticut, has convicted 35-year-old Terrence Gallimore of murder in the first degree in an assault that happened on December 16th. They convicted him on December 16, 2025, following a drive-by shooting that took place last year in August of 2024 in the East End that killed 28-year-old Brandaja Osri Florence Winston and wounded a 30-year-old man. The jury deliberated for about 2 hours after the trial that began on December 3rd of 2025. And with evidence including 17 shell casings, 11 from an AK-47 with a green laser sight used by Gallimore. Gallimore was found guilty of criminal weapons possession and faces a maximum of 90 years at sentencing on February 23rd of next year. He is currently being held on a $2 million bond. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, led a 5 live-streamed roundtable on Lyme disease, promising new funding and a shifted approach to research and treatment. He announced plans to renew the partnership with the Stephen and Alexandra Cohen Foundation's Lyme Innovation Accelerator Program, establish centers of excellence nationwide for identifying optimal tests and treatments, and direct patients to doctors with successful outcomes. Kennedy emphasized learning from effective physicians and patients similar to efforts with long COVID, and highlighted his personal and familial experiences with Lyme infections. The Stephen and Alexandra Cohen Foundation, which is based right here in Stamford and founded by the New York Mets owner, has donated $1.3 billion to regional causes since 2001 and recently expanded its headquarters. The foundation organized the roundtable and will lead efforts on new U.S. funding and research. Lyme disease, named after the Connecticut town, affects about 3,000 residents annually in the state, with related tick-borne illnesses like, I'm not pronouncing either one of these because I'm not going to make a fool of myself. Now for the stupidest thing I read today. This one's a tough one for me to call, but if you have an opinion about this, I'd like to hear. I think this happened in Atlanta. Yeah, this happened in Atlanta. And a guy who's obviously become sick and tired of porch pirates decided to take matters into his own hands. But wait until the end of the story, and maybe you'll consider why he went that route.
Nubian Barnes lives across the street from Rakeem Bradford, the man accused of shooting 2 teens, he says, tried to steal his packages from his porch. She says the shooting was excessive and the teens could have been killed.
He could have been facing murder charges because of a package that probably didn't cost that much. It definitely don't cost a human life.
Atlanta police say it happened Thursday afternoon around 3:30 at the Villages of Cascade townhomes. They say Bradford shot a 15-year-old boy in the foot. Police say he shot a second teen in the arm. Both taken to Grady Hospital, expected to survive. Bradford now faces 2 counts of aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during a felony. Some people said they are fed up with crime and out-of-control teens, and they understand Bradford's frustration. Others said the shooting went too far.
That's crazy. To me, like, you call the police. That's what police are for.
It's just so much over packages. Packages can be replaced.
Barnes says Bradford is now in a world of trouble, his freedom in jeopardy over packages.
If you feel that your packages are not going to be safe, do pick up.
And I knocked on Bradford's door to see if anyone could explain his side of the story. No one answered. Like I said, this issue is dividing a lot of people, but the consensus appears to be if you're not under attack, your life isn't threatened, let those packages go and replace them.
Now, I'm not going to lie. Do I think it was excessive? Absolutely. Roland, what do you say?
Hell no.
Now,
stop stealing.
There you go.
Stop stealing, and that won't happen.
There has to be a precedent set. That's what I'm saying here. But trust me, here's why I'm saying that. And again, I listened to the story. As I'm listening to it, I'm going, okay, yeah, it may have been excessive. Yeah, there may have been a degree of he should have thought about it. Maybe just brandished the gun or whatever to keep them from stealing it, and they would have run off. Like we've seen videos before where the guy comes out with a long gun.
Yeah.
And, he catches dude out there and he runs.
But let me ask you something.
Yes.
What if he went out there and just yelled and screamed at him? Like, get off my porch or whatever, give me my packages, don't touch my stuff, and one of them pulled out something.
Exactly. I'm in total agreement with you because.
Then what we saying?
Exactly.
14 and 15. Well, from 12 and up.
That's right.
They're carrying.
You're right.
And you don't know if they are or not. So why would I want to take that chance? I'm not trying to kill no little kid.
Right.
But that was, shoot him in the leg. Okay.
He did. He shot him in the foot and he shot another one in the arm.
There you go. So he obviously is not trying to kill a kid.
Clearly. But here's the part that makes me, again, when I was listening to the story, I was going, okay, I can see the back and forth where people are going, all right, maybe it was too far, where other people are saying that, it's righteous, right? But here was the part that put me on it was righteous. Here's why. Listen to what the anchor says that he put, the reporter on scene kicks it back to the anchor. Listen to what she says.
That's a gated community. It tied up everything in there yesterday as we were working to learn just what happened.
He's in a gated community.
Yeah.
And they robbed him.
Yeah.
So nowhere is safe.
There you go. Yeah. It obviously, he had some consideration that they were children, but he had to send a message. And the message was, make sure you never bring your behind back here again.
Exactly.
And that was a message I hope they clearly got and understood.
I would say this. That news story was probably seen by anyone in the area. And now, and you know how that thing goes, Rumorville, right? People are going, don't go to that particular place. They're shooting over there, right? They will take the law into their own hands. Yeah, it's the difference. It's like, why do you see more home invasions in Chicago than you will in El Paso, Texas? There's a reason. Because the people they know in El Paso, they go, I ain't going in those people's houses. I know they own a gun.
Shotgun.
Exactly.
Handgun.
Yes.
Revolver. They got all that.
It's not worth the thing you steal. What I also found, absolutely noticeable about this is people are saying it's over a package. Why shoot someone over the package? Which again lends, for me, reasonably going, why would a kid risk their life?
For a package.
Exactly. Because if they know that somebody is willing to shoot them for their packages, therefore you have the deterrent.
Yeah.
You've created the atmosphere of fear.
The problem is, and I literally just had this conversation with my daughter like 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
I said, just because you've gotten away with something that I don't know about,
right,
4 or 5 times, doesn't mean that you're going to continue to get away with it.
Exactly.
Because once I catch you, now it's all over.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's the point. They got away with it so many times that they think, oh, we just going to keep getting these packages. But now somebody's coming out there and catching you. Now you're getting shot over, and you're like, it's just packages. But you didn't got away with it however many times before.
Exactly.
Now it's all just coming. It's just all coming back to you.
I'm going to see if I can find that audio in the next break. There's this wild audio of the young man who, this young man broke into a woman's home. He goes inside. He rummages through everything. He's stealing stuff. The woman gets an alert on her phone. Her security camera goes off and witnesses the kid going into her house and stealing. She calls the cops to let them know that her home is being robbed. So she does everything she's supposed to do. She arrives home. The cops haven't arrived yet. And she goes to the home. She is armed. She's armed, and she catches the guy as he attempts to, I guess, either pursue her or jump towards her or to intimidate her. So she shoots and kills him.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, what else are you supposed to do in that instance? There is no police. You've done everything you could possibly do. You get to the home. The home invader's still there. You've got a gun. No police assistance to speak of. And right now, confronting the individual, you may lose your life. What do? So you take him out. Anyway,
if I'm a judge, I'm like, well done.
Exactly. Thank you. That's what I would have said. But anyway, so there's an audio of, I think, the relative or the friend of the killed kid. What she says completely I got to find it. It completely blows my mind. She says, this is her excuse. She's got to understand, and I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm almost certain I've got it down to the note. She has to understand, the woman who shot him, she's got to understand that he's from the hood and he needs money for clothes and stuff to go to school, you may not know what he's dealing with. And I went, what? Like, do you understand that you were being interviewed and this is going to be on television, right? And she says that, and I lost it. I went, no freaking way did she excuse this and say that the woman has to understand that he needs clothes for school, and she has to accept that sometimes you have to rob and steal in order to, I mean, it was baffling. It was baffling. Let me go to Bob. I'm assuming Bob wants to opine about this. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm assuming you want to speak on this story?
Well, another story is very similar is that lawyer in Litchfield County that went out to smoke a cigarette, and a guy jumped him that was 40 years old, and the lawyer was 72 or 73.
Wow.
And started beating up the lawyer.
Uh-huh.
The lawyer had a firearm, turned and shot him because that's beating an elderly person. There's no way a 73-year-old man can defend himself from a 40.
Absolutely not. What's he going to do, wrestle him to the ground?
Exactly. And you know what they did to the poor guy?
No.
They put him in jail for 8 years.
No, they did not. When did this happen?
Look, in Connecticut, about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
He's in jail.
I've got to look this up. And really, no defense, no self-defense case, nothing? I mean...
He hired lawyers and everything, and I heard it on the radio, and they were dumbfounded that they put this elderly man in jail. They said he could have run.
What? Okay, now I did see, again, this had to be before my time. You said Litchfield, right?
Litchfield. I believe it was in Litchfield County.
Litchfield?
Not Litchfield.
You could probably go online and just put up a lawyer sent to jail for defending himself in Litchfield County.
Okay, Roland, you don't think it? Do you think it was Do you think it was someplace else?
No. You said Lynchfield.
It was Litchfield County.
Not Lynchfield. It's Litchfield.
Litchfield.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look.
Litchfield.
I will look it up, Bob. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, bye-bye.
You got it. Let me go. Okay, so now we got a bunch of people calling in about this one. Let's go. I'm going to go to James in Plymouth on this one. What's up, James?
Hey, how are you? I just want to go back on the back of that last guy. Yeah. It happened in Litchfield, Connecticut, in Litchfield County. But the elder fella was an attorney for the guy that he shot, that young guy. I guess the attorney didn't do well, and the kid ended up getting pinched for whatever crime he committed. He hired this elderly guy as an attorney, who was an attorney, and the guy was out having a cigarette, and the kid walked around from the other side of the building and started pounding on this guy. The guy pulled out a gun and blasted him.
How old was the kid that was beating on him?
37, 38, something like that.
Okay, I'm looking it up now.
72. Oh, dude, it's like 3 or 4 years ago. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, they put that poor guy in jail for 8 years.
Was it former Litchfield attorney convicted of manslaughter?
Yes, there you go.
Is that? Let me see if this is the story here. In fact,
I believe so.
Yeah, man fights for freedom. A former Litchfield attorney convicted for manslaughter for shooting a man outside of his law office is appealing his conviction and seeking early release from prison. 79-year-old Robert Fisher has been found guilty last spring of manslaughter charges after shooting and killing 39-year-old Matthew Bromley in June of 2021. Fisher was sentenced in June for 7 years in prison, suspended after 2.5 years, meaning he is scheduled for release in December of 27.
Imagine.
That is insanity.
Yeah. And nothing happens to the other guy, obviously. Yeah. Well, what if he didn't shoot him? Are they going to arrest that kid for beating up on an elderly person?
Holy moly. I'm looking at the picture of the guy. Yeah, I think that's what it is. There were a lot of loopholes here. Zach is in the chat room. He says, Reese, the prosecutor in Litchfield County, is a rabidly socialist evil man. He openly wants to put good people in jail. Same with most of the judges there, he says. So there's some people who are screaming about this. This is insanity.
This guy's he's not going to be having a Christmas this year or next year?
There's got to be. Okay, I'm totally going to I'm looking into this one. We got to get this man out of jail now.
I agree. 100%. I'm with you, man. Absolutely.
Oh, hell no. Liz, you know what? That's our campaign this year. Let's do that. I'm already on it. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad you guys brought this to my attention. We have definitely got to do it. Thank you, boss.
See ya.
You got it. Yeah, hell yeah. Let's get this guy out of jail. Are you insane? That really happened. Sometimes sponsors, welcome to Connecticut. I hear you. Okay, we'll take a break. More news, more views when we return. Stand by. It's Reese on the radio.
Hey, whoa, hold up. 100 candles on the cake? Who do you think's lighting this?
Hey, we're back. Reese on the radio. Thank you, guys. I, again, knew nothing about this story because it was before my time here, but I'm so glad you guys are letting me know about it. I hear someone may know the daughter of this gentleman. Robert Fisher is his name. I want to make sure I get it right. Yes, Robert Fisher, who's 79 years old. It's Robert Fisher Jr. Is a full name. And he shot 39-year-old Matthew Bromley. There was an article I just looked up from WFSB. It looks like about 3 weeks old. Sometime in November, they had done a follow-up story with his daughter. I believe her name is Sarah. And if someone just texted me and said she may be a family friend of theirs. If you do know her or know her whereabouts or how to get in contact with her, tell her to call me here. I want to talk to her about this because this is insane. So here's what I'm finding about the efforts to release him. And maybe I should start off, if you're just joining us, about a breakdown of the story that I was able to get on Grok real quick. They said Robert Fisher is a former attorney from Litchfield, Goshen, Connecticut. In March of 2025, a jury convicted him of first-degree manslaughter with a firearm for the June 2021 shooting death of 39-year-old Matthew Bromley outside his law office. Prosecutors argued that Bromley assaulted Fisher, but was retreating when Fisher shot him. Fisher claimed self-defense after Bromley allegedly punched him repeatedly and threatened his life. In June of 2025, a judge sentenced Fisher to a 7-year term, suspended after 2.5 years served. Effectively, about 2.5 years in prison is what he would serve, and the rest would be on probation. Given his age and health issues, he suffered severe complications shortly after incarceration, including respiratory failure, kidney failure, and a blood clot leading to hospitalization. His case has drawn attention for this. Efforts to secure his release. There's been an appeal of the conviction in November of 2025. His attorney, who is John Schoenhorn, filed a detailed 134-page appellate brief arguing trial errors, including restrictions on Fisher's defense, prosecutorial misconduct in closing arguments, and claims that the verdict was against the weight of evidence, potentially a manifest injustice. The appeal is ongoing in Connecticut's appellate courts. Motion for release pending appeal. Fisher's team recently filed a motion for an appellate bond, which, if granted by a Superior Court judge, would allow him to be released from prison, possibly on bail, on monitored conditions, while this appeal is decided. This is a standard mechanism in serious cases where there's a substantial legal challenge. There was something interesting that I also learned about this WFSB report. WFSB reached out to Bromley's family, who declined to speak to WFSB. For what reason? I don't know what that means. They don't have to. I just found that, in my view, a little odd. But there are some people who are chatting about it everywhere. They're all over here. One person said about the story that prompted this discussion as it relates to Fisher. We were talking about, what prompted it was the story in Atlanta, where the young man shot the 2 teenagers for stealing packages off his lawn. Doug says, the guy who shot the porch pirates, what if it was he was an insulin-dependent diabetic who was waiting on his medication to be delivered? Would it have been okay to shoot them? I'm not arguing what was in the package. I think, and I agree with you, Doug. What if it was? What if it was, in essence, life or death? I would have brandished the gun. But if somebody would have, maybe brandished back, something's got to give. I'm just saying. And I don't know how brazen these people are when they're stealing your packages. There are some other comments as well. Let me see if I could get a couple of these in here because they were opining on my other page instead of the regular chat room. Let me get to that. Yeah, that's right. This is live, folks. This is live. That's what we do here. It's just a live thing. Zach says, Zach is the one who's reaching out to go see if we can find that individual. See if we can get Sarah on the line. Matt, who's kind of cruel about it, he says, the most shocking part of that story is how the lawyer could not defend himself against an obvious defense case. That actually makes sense if he couldn't get himself off. Maybe he was a bad, for lack of a better words, attorney in all of this. Let's go to David in Granby. How are you, David?
I'm very good. Thanks for taking the call, Reese. I just got a quick comment about the packages on the doorsteps.
Yes.
So in Granby a couple weeks ago, they had one night where there was 3 robberies that I shouldn't say, well, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they're thefts. They're thefts.
They came to take the packages brandishing guns.
Wow.
Like they had the guns out getting the packages. So it's just it's no bueno. I mean,
yeah.
It's not good. So, and the poor guy in Litchfield, that is horrible. I hope something is done with that. Obviously, there's more circumstances to the case.
Well, yeah,
man,
I mean,
not sound right.
The thing that I don't understand, right? It's in many ways, if I'm reading this correctly, I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know if there's any video of this particular assault. But in that case, a 39-year-old fighting a now 79-year-old man in that case, to make this a ticky-tack charge or suggestion that because the 39-year-old was retreating after he beat the 70-something-year-old.
Right.
Yep. It's to then say that that's enough to put the man in prison. I'm saying to myself that, without hard evidence, I don't know how you come to that conviction.
Prison.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It just doesn't make sense.
Pill. It's a tough pill. But thank you for taking my call. That was just my quick comment about the packages. So,
you got it, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you. Rob, how are you going to make this about the police?
No, I'm just saying about in New York City, there was a 67-year-old doorman who worked at the place in New York City 2 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
He was convicted for shooting this criminal who had 41 prior arrests, and he was out in the street. He was beating this guy, the doorman, who was on video. The guy worked there 20 years, and the guy shot the person in the groin in the front.
Damn.
And they still put the guy, they're going to put him in jail for 17 years.
Well, no, that's no different. Okay, well, you know what? First of all,
this is just recently. Now they're going against Holcomb to pull the plug on convicting this guy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But this is par for the course. This is like the third case. You got the guy you're talking about. You got Daniel Penny, who's facing manslaughter charges. In fact, he was murder charges. And don't forget, we also had the older man who worked at the bodega, who was being assaulted and stabbed, I might add, who ended up taking out the
prosecutor, Abbott or Gabbett.
No. His name is not Barr. What the heck is his name?
No, but the guy who let him go, the lead prosecutor there, let everybody go. But it's
I was going to say Bill Barr, but it's not. It's Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg is his name.
You're right.
Yeah, Alvin Bragg, that piece of garbage.
We got to get like Florida. You got to stand your ground. I mean, it's out of control.
Yeah, and again, that's it's classic case, right? We're going to defund the police. We're going to bring in social workers, but you're just going to be left to the wolves. It's like,
but the thing is, can I say something about the social workers, Reese?
Social workers going into...
If you got a homeless guy or you got someone mentally deranged, throw him a nipper, give him a pack of cigarettes and a cigarette lighter, diffuse the situation.
So you are figuring a deterrent with a homeless person who may be, out of sorts.
Yeah, don't just cap the dude.
Yeah, no, you're saying that in order to get him to calm down, toss him a pack of cigarettes and a lighter and say...
And a nipper.
I don't know if the state of New York or the city...
it'd be cost-benefit analysis will work out better.
I'm not disputing that. I just don't know...
And how about you and Mark? Sorry to interrupt you. You and Mark divided?
No, Mark, did you not hear? Mark's he's not in the hospital anymore. Mark is kind of bedridden. He was in a serious car accident a couple of Fridays ago.
Oh, God, that's hard. Sorry to hear that, man. I tell him I miss his calls and I like his festivities.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody was visibly noticing him. They are very much noticing online that he's not there. So
he's local. I like his things are usually local, and he's usually got a good point.
Yeah, he does. He's a good guy. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it.
Good work.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, this is insane. Please, if anyone knows this Sarah Fisher, I'm assuming that's her name, Sarah Fisher, who is on the WFSB piece that was 3 weeks ago. If someone does know her, get in contact with her. Please tell her to call. I want to hear some inside track. In the WFSB piece, she got to call her dad on the phone while he was locked up to talk to the reporters there as well. I'm not trying to look for something that elaborate, but I really want to hear from her because she's very, close to the case, and I'm sure she's fighting for the release of her dad. So I would like to get her on to talk to her about that. Let me see. Zach just sent this. He says, got the message out. I think she's working right now, but I'll let you know the minute that she gets back. Thank you, Zach. Much appreciated, man. Good efforts on your part. All right, we'll take a break. We're going to come back in a bit. More news, more views. We've got between rounds winner coming up. Some more on the affordability issue that we should get these candidates who are running against Ned Lamont to pay attention to. And, of course, your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC. It's Reese on the Radio. We'll be back.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Now my darn headphones are trapped because of these wires. We have got to figure out a wireless option here, Roland. We need a wireless option. That means we have to plug it in and do all that other crazy stuff. Anyway, the next hour, we'll talk more about this affordability stuff. We'll also, I got a great story. Let me get to that because Roland just let me know about this a minute ago. I've been raving about the Marshall House with the Salvation Army. This is great news, and I want to thank the folks who called up to let us know. Integris Group in Glastonbury, the IT department gave the Marshall House a 34-inch Alienware widescreen monitor for people to job search. The IT that was the IT department that gave it. Said they'll be coming by on Wednesday, the 17th, to drop it off, which is, what is that, tomorrow? Oh, it's today? Oh, they're dropping by today. Okay, so they'll be dropping it off today. They said they locked it in a conference room at Homewood Suites, so they will be able to pick it up. Now, I won't be at the Homewood Suites on one of these days. I can't remember which the next day I'm going to be there. I should look at my calendar to find out. Let me go here. Okay, Homewood Suites, my next date there is on Tuesday the 22nd. So it'll be there, and I'll just get it to the folks who need to. So Salvation Army, if you're listening, a great gift by Integris Group of Glastonbury. The IT department has donated a 34-inch Alienware widescreen monitor. And that's, I've seen the computer that is there, and it is very, very small. Let's get to the phones real quick. Mark in Windsor, how are you, sir?
Hey, greetings to all the men and women listeners out there. How are you?
I'm good, man. Long time no hear from.
Yeah. Hey, the conversation today about the guy in self-defense and getting prosecuted over that. Connecticut is an angry communist backward state. They thrive off of making criminals victims.
Yeah.
And if you remember the Cheshire home invasion.
Yes.
Now, that man, he wasn't able to. He wasn't in a position to defend his family. And look at what happened.
Yeah.
Look at what happened. Now, what happened? And then look at what happened to those criminals. One of them, they were supposed to get the death penalty,
right?
But they didn't. Connecticut spared them. And I don't know how much details you know about what they did to those women, but Connecticut rewarded one of them. He's now living in a women's prison.
Yes, that's right.
This is a sick group of Democrat politicians here in this state. These Democrats are sick.
And what's so crazy, Mark, is that more and more of the constituents here want to reward that behavior, at the same time preach to us about compassion.
They are sick. This is a sick group of, and you look at the number of the number of individuals that are killed, that die every year through drugs, whether they overdose or they're killed from
gang violence,
gang violence or drugs. And here you have a federal government that's finally taking the fight directly to the drug traffickers, the ones that are dumping all this chemical warfare into this country.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got politicians like Chris Murphy who are advocating for the Cheshire home invasion people.
Yeah,
well, I mean the drug traffickers.
Well, here's the whole thing. While everyone used to scream every day about our politicians, our elected officials who are allowing these drugs to come into these communities and poison those folks, now they're doing it on MSNBC or MS Now and CNN daily. And not one person that says, hey, wait a minute. Like nobody's even calling them out. It's disgusting. Mark,
stay sick. Have a great one.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Let's get our first check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he is back. He is in the BPS Traffic Center. How you doing, sir?
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we are back. Reese on the radio live, and we did get, and I'm working really, really hard to make sure that we're going to get Sarah Fisher on the line. We do have her telephone number, and she has been located by Zach. Thank you so much, Zach. Good work. I love my audience. You guys are the best in the world. You know you are. Anyway, we'll get into that, but let's do our thing. You know what we got to do, as we always do. As you all know, we're doing a live broadcast from Between Rounds next month, and right in the center of the month, like right center of the month, we'll let you know where that's going to take place, and we'll be there from 2 to 6. I'll probably be there earlier, but if you want to come by and get a bagel, get a coffee, whatever the case may be, do that, and we'll let you know all of the details. Congratulations goes to Linda R. in Enfield. She is the winner of the Between Rounds dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Vernon, and Manchester. One of those locations we'll be at in the middle of January. Also, if you want to enter, you got to go to reeseontheradio.com, REESE on the radio.com. Give us a call, and we will... give us a call. Go online, put in your information, make sure you get your birth date, make sure you put in your date of birth, your telephone number, and we will make sure that you get a chance to win. You can enter as many times as you like. And what else? I must live in the state of Connecticut and cannot have won within the last 6 months of today. Also, I'm looking at this Brown University shooting stuff and the videos that they have. Folks, I'm going to get back to you on this because I just saw a picture of a person of interest, and if I'm correct, the internet sleuths may have this shooter without a doubt, based on the picture that was just released by the FBI. I think we know who this person is, and if it is the person that I suspect in this picture, boy, is it going to be bad. Anyway, we'll get into that. Sarah Fisher, coming up. Stand by. Here's Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Okay, I just got off the phone with Sarah Fisher. She is at work, and she doesn't get out until 7 o'clock. I tried to see if I could at least get her to come on the air for a little bit. I literally just hung up the phone with her. But she said that she can't. At her job, she is the boss, but she still can't take off to be on the program. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call her after the show. She gets off at 7 o'clock. I'm going to call her at 7 o'clock. Maybe I forgot I have to go to the party today. Whatever. I'll find the time to call her. I have her cell phone. I'm going to give her a holler and talk to her and see if we could get some sort of like an impromptu sort of recorded interview to talk to her and see if we can sort of help her do what she's trying to do, and that's help her dad. And we'll work on that. And I appreciate everybody who's opining about this and giving me more and more information about her so that we can get to the bottom of this. This is absolutely a tragedy. This is an awful thing to allow to happen in the state. To happen to anybody, especially an attorney, an elderly man, for crying out loud, who was assaulted. To do this to him shows the state has no damn heart. It just does. It's just the fact that nobody would be paying attention to this. I wish I was here in 2021, but nonetheless, we found out about it. Somebody brought it to my attention. We'll do what we can. Let's go with Dave. Dave is on the road. What's going on, sir?
Well, Reese, you're new to me. I haven't listened to TIC in almost 4 years.
Wow.
And here's why. No matter how many people I talked to when we lived in Connecticut, and I was never nasty about talking to people about my beliefs and my political structure, you still have Skeletor and Chris Murphy. And you know what? I just decided if you can't vote them out, then I have to leave, and my wife and I moved to New Hampshire.
Wow.
Now, New Hampshire has their situations.
Sure.
But they're nothing, absolutely nothing like Connecticut.
I agree.
I don't think Chris Murphy and Skeletor could find their cheeks with both hands. But they are both, well, Skeletor's a multimillionaire, and I'll bet you Chris Murphy, who went bankrupt twice before he got elected, I'll bet you he's a millionaire now.
He's definitely not struggling. I'll give you that much.
Isn't life for politicians in Connecticut very lucrative?
Oh, baby, ain't it? You're right about that. But, okay, so you didn't listen to WTIC for 4 years because of the politicians, or you didn't like the programming here?
Oh, no, I love the programming for TIC, but I used to be on the road all the time. I was a truck driver that was in Connecticut, you know, doing work in Connecticut, so I listened to it all the time.
Yeah.
Talked to Pastor Will. Oh, Christ, I can't even remember
Shattuck?
his name anymore.
Tom Shattuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
But even before that, during the morning, he's the fellow that has lupus. I forget his name.
Oh, that doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah. Anyway, and I listen to TIC all the time. I think it's a great radio station. I think I don't just think, I believe that it tries to get people informed as to just what a stinky state Connecticut is because of their politicians. It's not the state. It's not the people that work there. But the people that run it, especially the guy who's at the head right now.
Lamont?
Yeah, I don't think he's a full glass of water.
Nice way to put it. You're full of them. I love it. Listen, let me ask you this, though. So you didn't listen to the station for 4 years. I can only assume here, and, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, you have been checking out the network lately, or you've been checking out my show as of recent?
Unfortunately, I was back in Connecticut today. I had to see a doctor, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to listen to it on the way home, and it seems like absolutely nothing has changed.
Not true. Not true.
Really?
No. Let me explain this to you. Now, I know you've gone, and I totally appreciate that. I talked to a lot of guys, from George in St. Louis to Ralph in South Carolina, Rudy in Florida. A lot of guys have left, but they still listen to this network, because I know in my heart of hearts, and I know even it happened with you, even coming into Connecticut and tuning in, that there is a glimmer of hope. You're saying to yourself a little bit, maybe, just maybe, let me go check in and see if things have changed. Well, look, I've been here officially since July. Well, let's say June 30th, but July. And many people will tell you, ask around. I hit the ground running when I got here. When I say hit the ground running, I didn't come on these airwaves and start spewing, let's argue about stuff. Let's talk about how corrupt it is. No, my job has been from get-go to get on the ground and to get in front of the folks that you're talking about. On Friday, you don't know this because, again, you haven't listened in a while. On Friday, on this very network, do you know who this radio host spoke to face-to-face?
No.
Richard Blumenthal.
I'm sorry.
Richard Blumenthal came onto the program, and he will be back. And do you know what he'll be coming back to talk about? The same things that you're talking about. And we're going to hold his feet to the fire. He knows my political leanings. He knows that I am a refuse to apologize conservative. I'm a Reagan conservative. I always have been. And I don't take any guff as far as liberalism and progressivism goes. I hold their feet to the fire, and I challenge them. And he knows it, and he came on the show anyway. As do many. I've confronted people like, John Larson. And I've done this face to face, not just on the airwaves. I don't believe in just sitting on the air and talk about everything sucks. No, I actually believe about going in front of these folks and talking to them about policies that actually get results. And that's what we're trying to do here. I haven't been here 6 months, and we're already making changes. And it is evident because the audience knows it to be true. So I know that, you knew, I shouldn't say new, you're just newly back. But not that I will ever get you to move back to the state. But I'll do this. I'll go one step further, David, and let's see if we can get this. Trust me for another 6 months and see how much I get done, and then call me back and tell me what you think. You give me my report card.
I will be happy to listen to this station more often now just because of what you've said.
Thank you. Because we believe in getting results. This is not traditional radio anymore.
But you're right. I will never move back to Connecticut.
That's okay. That's okay.
I have family and friends that live there, and if what you're doing is going to make their lives any better, then I absolutely am glad that I called tonight.
And I am happy that you did as well, because remember, you are the people who have got to keep me honest. And not only that, you've also got to keep me on my toes and keep me getting the job done. I don't want to be a guy here who's just, riling people up for them to be upset. I want to get results so that they know there's a problem going on in Connecticut. And if we could solve it, we get it solved. And then people come here to say to me, hey, we've got this problem. Let's see what we can do to get it done.
Well, Reese, I promise I'm going to listen more often.
Thank you. That I appreciate. And thanks for giving us a shot again.
Merry Christmas, buddy.
Merry Christmas, sir. Merry Christmas. That I can appreciate. And again, it's going to take you holding my feet to the fire as I hold these politicians' feet to the fire. I'm going to continue pressing on them. And I know many of them will run. Scurry. I'm okay. Let them scurry. That's not going to change a thing. It's not going to change a thing. They will definitely be put on notice. Let me see what I have in the chat room. Let me see. The name of the guy in the morning. He's talking about Jim Vicevich. Okay. I wasn't sure. I did not know that he had lupus. So I didn't want to assume that I knew who that was. But thank you. I appreciate you, Joseph, for heading me up on that one as well. What's the name? Matteo says, if the state is terrible because of politicians, ipso facto, that means the people are stupid because they voted them in. You can't have it both ways. Yes, I will admit. But you know what? I will go so far as this, Matt. I will go so far as to say this. I don't think that's happening. I don't think that elections in this state are happening anymore with the people in mind or at their will. I really don't believe the elections in Connecticut. Because just hear me out. Hear me out for a quick second. Call me crazy, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. Everybody calls this state corrupticut. Everybody says that all the politicians are corrupt. All of you do. So let's go all out. Let's all go all out. What are we afraid of anymore? What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. Let's call it what it is. It's rigged. You know damn well it's rigged. We all know it's rigged. We know that the voter rolls are tainted. We know that dead people are voting. Why cheat? Again, remember, we're supposed to believe that this is a deep blue state. Why the cheating then? Why the cheating? If it's so easy for blue folks, for these Democrats to win, why cheat at all? There's a perfect example going on in Bridgeport. Why cheat at all? They held another election, and Ganim still won. But again, ask yourself, no need to cheat at all. It's a solid blue state, they tell us. So there should be no fraud. None. Everybody should sit back, put their feet up, and do nothing. What's Lamont spending millions of dollars on? Should be a cakewalk, shouldn't it? He should be able to run this election. Think about it. Let's not even take Ned Lamont. Let's just take all of you who say to me every day, excuse me, Reese, forget about it. It's lost. Goodness gracious. What just happened to me? I hate when that happens. I get all ginned up. Now all of a sudden my voice is gone. Hold on, I'll get it back. I'm getting all excited. Anyway, let me get it back. Think about this, folks. You guys have been telling me forever and ever and ever, since I've been here, it's a cakewalk for Democrats. We're never going to win. That's it. We just have to deal with it. People aren't showing up to elections anymore. It's a deep blue state. And then at the same time, you're telling me stories about millions of dollars that are being spent on elections. Why? Why would they spend it? If I'm Ned Lamont, I'm kicking my feet up and going, nah, we got this. Are you kidding me? We're winning tomorrow. Why bother? If anything, you let guys like Stefanowski, you let that guy spend every dime he's got. Ned Lamont just throw his feet up. Nah, don't worry about it. Why bother? Donors, who needs them? Both can't be true. Both can't be true. And I'm looking at this just logically, folks. I know, look, right now there's someone saying to themselves, you know what, Reese has got a point. In one breath, we're saying that we can't win at all, but the Democrats are spending millions of dollars on races. How can both be true? It should be effortless. It should be the cheapest campaigns around. These people should be able to announce, I'm running, and win. But yet they're spending money on advertisement. Why? Because they have. To be honest with you, here's what I would do. If there's no cheating, if there's no BS, if there's no garbage, I dare Lamont in 2026. I dare him. Spend nothing. Don't even run any ads. Run nothing. No commercials. No online campaigns. Do nothing. You should all be asking for the same thing. Lamont, spend no money. Prove that it's and he'll look at you like you're crazy. Hell no. Hell no. So don't try to run that game on me. I won't believe it. Stay on the phones. I promise I'll be back in a second. We got to go to a break to get the weather and traffic. Gosh, what happened to my voice? That was weird. I was yelling so much I hurt my own voice. Sometimes I get passionate. I got to work on that. I have to swallow, breathe, get my act together. Anyway, all right, we got to take a break. Let's get weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS. Oh, there he goes again. Almost cracked again. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
La, 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 la. Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Actually, I got a great comment from Maddie O. Maddie always comments back and forth. He sends them to me personally on Facebook, but I like reading them. This is what he writes. He says, if you really believe that we could be talking about getting poll watchers not running better candidates. Now, you can always run a better candidate, of course. Question is, how do you get a better candidate? Do we know who's running? And who gets to vet them? If we do get said candidate, what is the criteria? There is no one size fits all. You all know that. And you may like one person and other people may like. I was talking to somebody about Jonathan DeBarros, and there are people who love him, saying, yeah, we need to get behind this guy. There are others who are like, nope, not on my watch. So how do you get those people behind him? Because sometimes those people, even though they're in the same party, sorry to say it, will work against that individual. Everybody's got haters, as they say. So you have to be, you have to get used to that. So my argument is it's not, I'm not throwing out baby with the bathwater. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm suggesting is that the people who make the argument over and over again that this is a solid blue state, what's the use? My pushback on that is, then why do they spend so much money here? And they do. They spend an awful lot of money on campaigns. It should be, seriously, it should be a cakewalk. People should be able to show up and say, Democrat, yep, going to raise your taxes, and just win. Should be that easy. But it never is. Why? Because it ain't that solid blue. It isn't. And they are just as nervous. Why? Because cheating isn't enough. It's a small state. It just isn't enough. Because they need the actual people to come out. So imagine if you eliminate the cheating aspect. Imagine what you can accomplish. But you've got to be able to say open and honestly, this is the cheating. Plus, you've got to stop ignoring people who know where the cheating is and pay attention to them. When we have Linda on the program tomorrow, Linda Sinkowitz from Fight Voter Fraud, when we talk to her tomorrow, I want you to listen to her, to recognize what's going on. People have been dismissing this woman because I think it was one mistake that she made, that she had suggested something that turned out to be true, and that immediately was, as I said earlier, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That immediately discredited her, which everybody knew that's not enough. It should never be enough. But she'll be on the program tomorrow. I would suggest you listen to her. I would suggest you join her efforts. Linda believes that this state is far more red than people are willing to believe or are letting on. And again, I'll take the most obvious, how much money they spend on elections, because they should shouldn't have to spend a dime. In fact, when we come back, I'm going to find out how much money Lamont spent on his last campaign. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we return. Goodness gracious. What have I got going on today? Let's get Mark Christopher in here. Save my behind. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
What the heck were you listening to in there? Whatever that was. It sounded like some crazy cartoon in the monitor. Yeah, I don't know what that was. It sounded like it was like some sort of cartoon with. Oh, was it? Okay. Interesting. I'm looking at these races for Lamont. I'm trying to get these numbers here, and I'll get to the phones in a second. It looks and appears, let me see, total budget. Looks like, let me see, Governor rematch with Bob Stefanowski. Lamont spent $26 million. Is that right? Self-funded, $25 million. A rematch with Bob Stefanowski combined with the opponent's spend hit a state record of $40 million. Again, self-funded largely, including late loans, raised some external funds, $31 million total per one tracker, though inconsistent with state reports. So there you have it. Last campaign in 2022, Lamont, $25 million. Before then, $15 million. Why would that number go up so high? $15 million to $26 million. Why would the number skyrocket like that? That's a ridiculous amount of money. An extra $10 million for an election everybody was certain was a cakewalk. Don't act like I wasn't here. I was here. That's what you all told me. You saw that election go by. It was 174,000 votes separate the two. You washed your hands with it. Connecticut's done. He went from 15, by the way, 15.8 to be exact, to 26. Why didn't he? I would have spent the same amount of money. And again, it was a rematch. What changed? Come on, man. That's all I'm trying to say. What's going on, Rex?
Hey, Reese, thanks again, man. Just following up with your caller from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
The one of the talk show hosts prior to your arrival was Jim Weissbich.
Yes. That was the person who had, what do you say, lupus, was it?
Lupus.
Yeah, I didn't know that about Jim. I know who Jim Weissbich is. I didn't know about the lupus thing.
Dude, you're so new and so bright and so right on in this state. So I don't want to make you more embarrassed, but hold on to this couple facts.
Okay.
John Carson was elected into office 26 years ago.
Well aware of it.
Rosa DeLauro, 34 years ago.
Oh, yep. Well aware of it.
Well, the moral of this story is that as a lifelong Connecticut resident who is on the edge of moving out, and I do not want to, but a lot of the policies and, the expense of living here, it's not on the Republicans, it's on the Democrats, right? And I'm not pointing fingers, it's just reality. When you're in the position for so long, all we can do is keep hoping that the Republican Party can step up and make it a little bit less onerous to live in this state. It's a beautiful, but you're right onto something, my friend, and you're new here, or newer. It's not like a landslide. It's not like the Democrats have us held hostage. It's a really close margin. So all we have to do is keep fighting, number one, but also rally in a way that is beneficial for those that live here, because I just got another Eversource bill, and I'm pretty much off the grid, dude. I cannot believe how expensive the electricity is.
This is the reason why this election coming up in November is so important, because, look, I haven't set my sights on who I'm going to vote for or who I'm going to support. I am going to support the Republican no matter what. But I will say this, in my Sunday meet and greet with Ryan Fazio, right? Yeah. Ryan Fazio was behind the effort to get the public's benefit breakdown visible to the ratepayer, right? So now people know what that money's going to. He fought long and hard with others to get that transparency. So he's promising, as he did during the meet and greet, was, okay, if I can get that done, let's do the second part. One, get him elected so they can get rid of it.
So I'm with you in that regard. And it's all about transparency and talking about these charges. I get that. And by the way, I'm not like one of your callers in New Hampshire. Like, my wife and I love Connecticut, born and raised here. We do not want to leave.
Right.
We do
we do not want to be pushed out.
Right.
Because the politics, it's beyond that, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, the way that the state spends money and then the way the Democrat machine talks about the affordability issue, it's upside down.
Yeah. Did you hear my opening? Did you hear my opening today talking about breaking down exactly what they're actually costing nutmeggers and then screaming affordability problems?
You're the best. You're a breath of fresh air, 2-time caller in 1 week. Can't wait to meet you in person.
You will, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm talking about. And I felt like I should ask, but I didn't want to be antagonistic in asking. This is another thing about you folks who are on the phones. And it's I'm not trying to be rude here, but as I always say, if it don't apply, let it fly. But it is incumbent on a lot of you folks. As I say here, it cannot be, let's just call the radio station and moan about it. I'm not allowed to use the B word on the air. I did it once and I got in trouble. But we can't. That's not who we are. That's not, if we're going to change anything, it's boots on the ground. I found out in one town, only 19% of registered voters show up. That's lower than the black population showing up. They show up at least 24% of registered voters. 19% in one district? If Republicans had showed up, they would have beat the pants off of the Democrat in that town. That's all you need. If only 19% of registered voters in one town show up for a committee election, if Republicans would get off their tuchus and actually show up, beat the pants off them. Morgan Cunningham said today, blew my mind. It said that Republicans who run statewide elections in the state will not go to major cities because they are overrun with Democrats. And he's right that they need to. Think about the strategy. And this is one no one paid attention to at all. Think about this strategy. Remember when Donald Trump went to the Bronx for a rally? Remember that? Do you remember how laughable that was to Democrats and to even some Republicans? Many of which said, why go there? It's a dedicated blue state. It's a waste of resources, Donald Trump. Why are you going to the Bronx? Does he really think that he would win New York? And New Yorkers and politicians were on TV? Ha, ha, ha! Donald Trump is a moron for coming all the way out to New York. New Yorkers are going to vote for Kamala Harris no matter what. Well, at least then it was Joe Biden. They're going to vote for Democrats no matter what. Ha, ha, ha! They thought it was funny. They thought it was a complete joke and a waste of time. Who won the popular vote, ladies and gentlemen? Who won the popular vote? And if you're saying to yourself, but yeah, Reese, he didn't get any electoral college votes in New York, what was the point? As I just told you, the popular vote. Why? Simple. Donald Trump wanted one thing. It wasn't just to win the electoral college, but if we won the popular vote, he could then say it was a mandate. And he needed to get votes in places, an abundance of votes in places, even though he lost. It was a numbers game as opposed to an electoral college game. Now, you get everybody in places you would never go. You get more and more people. Donald Trump gets 24% in New York. If he hadn't gone, what would the numbers have been? 15? Maybe even 20. But you go there, you convince people in the Bronx were cheering his name. Did he lose the Bronx? Yes. But did he grow? Yes. In fact, everywhere. You saw the numbers. Hartford Courant did a whole story about it. Even the New York Times did stories about where Donald Trump made gains in blue regions, where Kamala Harris was losing Democrat support that was certified by Joe Biden, losing by double digits. We're talking double digits of what Biden did. Far worse than Hillary did. Why? Because Donald Trump was out there playing the long game and the short one. Get the electoral college that you need, but get those ticky-tack votes so you can build on your numbers. Because then, as Donald Trump said in his stump speeches, make it too big to rig. Yeah. Making sense to you now? Yes. And that's the reason. And I say this over and over again as I talk to Republicans here in Connecticut. While you're busy running from Donald Trump, you need to be running to him. You need to be learning from his strategy, because while the rest of you are losing, I have to be frank with you, while the rest of you are losing, he's winning. And then saying, I don't like his style. So what? Did Donald Trump go from 63 million to 75 million to 77 million votes? Did he? Yes, he did. And guess what he did it with? His style. The one that you keep having to explain to everybody. I don't know if I like his tactics. But every time you turn around, the numbers go up. Think about this. Think, folks. Donald Trump went from 63 million votes to 75 million from 2016 to 2020. In a time when he was going through Russia, at a time when he was going through the COVID pandemic. The walls are closing in 4 years. Donald Trump's going to jail 4 years. Disrupted his entire presidency. Calamity everywhere you turned. Impeachments even. And he gains 11 million more votes during that first term. And the rest of you are talking about, I don't like his attitude. I don't like the way he does things. Come on, with all due respect. That's meaningless. Meaningless in the grand scheme. Tell me how it isn't. All of this stuff, this is basic logic. All of it is. I've been trying to explain this to everybody for the longest. They're running around screaming and hollering, pointing at this, pointing at that. What about this? What about that tweet? What about that truth post? Looking at all the nonsense. And again, the numbers don't lie. And again, let's also take into consideration, please take into consideration, because I already mentioned 2016 to 2020. We have the 2020 election where the guy gets 75 million votes. And guess what? While he's out of office for 4 years, thank you, Joe Biden, he gets another 2 to 3 million more votes. People don't just stay, they add on in 2020. And what happens during 2020, the 2020 cycle from 2020 to 2024? The guy gets indicted, the guy gets convicted, the guy gets mugshotted, the guy gets shot at. He's called a threat to democracy, a threat to all that we know that is American. And more people show up. He says the stuff that he says. He's as controversial as ever, and more people gravitate to him. And your response to that, Republican, is, I don't know if I like his style. Well, what I call Donald Trump is a proven track record. I don't give a damn what guys like Eric Erickson says. I don't give a damn about what these proven Republicans or so-called talking heads say on television. None of these bozos would ever be able to stand a minute in the room with me. I would annihilate every one of them with basic facts while they scream and holler about these unknown truths. The facts are the facts. That's it. Stop being afraid. You got nothing to be afraid of. Learn from the guy. It could help. Let's take another break. Let's get weather and traffic. Hollywood news coming up when we return. Here's Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC. NewsTalk 1080.
All right, let's do the darn thing. It's Hollywood news with your correspondent, Reese on the radio. all the glitz and all the glamour. It's Hollywood News. There he is on cue. You may have heard earlier John Silver talking about it. The Oscars have decided to leave ABC in 2029, and they are now going to air the Oscars on YouTube. Good luck with that. I'm just going to applaud it. I'm happy. No longer do we have to worry about ABC programming? And maybe now they can say over there on YouTube anything that they wanted to say on ABC. They can curse up a storm. They can, do every disgusting thing about that. Anyway, in other news, this year has highlighted iconic film milestones. Jaws marked its 50th anniversary this year. That was the original summer blockbuster, by the way. That was the first blockbuster summer film ever, was Jaws. Back to the Future celebrated its 40th anniversary. Other classics like The Goonies celebrated its 40th anniversary. Toy Story, 30 years. And Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in Heat celebrated 30 years. They were honored this year by actually movie theaters putting those films back on the silver screen. And a lot of those happened earlier this year. So it's over. But don't fret. If you want to see some other classic films that are going to be arriving in theaters in 2026, here is the new list. For those of you who like corny and boring saga, is it saga or saga? So whatever. You can see the Lord of the Rings extended trilogy, the 25th anniversary of the Fellowship. That is going to be returning in 2026. Yeah, you can go watch that and be bored to tears. You'll love this one. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
The Secret of Bebop and Rocksteady. Let's go.
Celebrates its 35th anniversary next year. And one of my favorites that my wife cannot stand and could not sit through, the 40th anniversary of Labyrinth, starring the late David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly. Wow. I love that movie. 40 years.
Jeez.
Since the Labyrinth, if you want to go check that out. And now we go to a guy who watches no films, except for Jaws in that list. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Maybe the Goonies. Was it? You were too old for
Cyndi
the Goonies?
Lauper? She did that song.
That's
What
right.
do you think? Let's see. I've seen...
you saw Heat. You told me you saw Heat. Or did you not see that? You saw Heat.
I saw Mad Max.
Okay.
I saw Purple Rain.
Ooh, look at that.
Purple Rain.
I saw Earthquake, Jaws.
Earthquake and Jaws. Wait a minute.
Caddyshack.
You got to answer this first, man. If you went to go see Purple Rain, please tell me it was on a date.
No, I think it was a bunch of dudes. And
What?
Yeah.
Man.
I know, pathetic.
You know what? You're a sports enthusiast. You will appreciate this. Flag on the play.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't remember. I think it was, I don't know, was it a bunch of dudes? Maybe it might have been a mixed
group
bag
of
of people.
Yeah,
but it
that
wasn't
makes
a
sense.
girlfriend, I could tell you.
You
that.
didn't go on a date. See, I went with a group of people, too. I was in a group home at the time. We were it was a group of people. A group home going out to a group date in the movies. So, there you go.
Well, the music was amazing. That's all I'm going to say.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Many, many moons ago, I know we were in Virginia, so I am going to say this had to have been 2022. Couldn't have been 2023. It was definitely 2022, back during my early fill-in days here at WTIC. I was talking about the popularity of a program in Canada called M.A.I.D, and it's called Medical Assistance in Dying. That's what M.A.I.D stands for. And I told you folks, it was a matter of time that was going to grow or become popular here in the States. Well, California has already done it, and now it's come here to the East Coast. Do not be surprised. Do not be surprised. Connecticut's next on the list. Here is today from the New York Post. Kathy Hochul will sign controversial bill to legalize doctor-assisted suicide in New York. It's today's article. Governor Hochul announced Wednesday that she'll sign a controversial doctor-assisted suicide bill, capping a years-long battle over making New York State that allows terminally ill people to take their own lives. Many religious leaders and disability advocates quickly condemns Hochul's decision to approve the Medical Aid in Dying Act. Did you hear that? The Medical Aid in Dying. Yes, M.A.I.D. That's right. That's right. Medical Aid in Dying Act will afford terminally ill New Yorkers the right to spend their final days not under sterile hospital lights, but with sunlight streaming through their bedroom window, Hochul wrote in the Times Union op-ed outlining her decision. The right to spend the final days not hearing the drowning hum of hospital machines, but instead the laughter of their grandkids echoing in the next room. The right to tell their family they love them and be able to hear those precious words in return. New York will become the 14th state to allow what proponents called death with dignity once Hochul signs it into law. When enacted, the law will put oversight of literal life and death decisions under the state's Department of Health, an agency that presided over a scandal-plagued Medicaid home care program and went along with former Andrew Cuomo's disastrous COVID nursing home order. A highly contentious fight led up to the bill's razor-thin passage by the state legislature in June, with the Catholic Church, disability advocates, and black and Jewish lawmakers pitted against it. Isn't that interesting? Minority groups were fighting against it, and it still passed? Damn. The thread of binding the ideological diverse chorus of opponents together was a shared concern that the bill would tell and make vulnerable New Yorkers expendable. Because, again, this only goes in another very bad direction. It's not just terminally ill. Someone else will then say, well, we want to go too. Who would those people be? Mentally ill. That's what happened in Canada. That's exactly what the argument was in Canada. Immediately after. First it was terminally ill. Then it was, oh, I've got mental illness. I don't want to live anymore. Okay, well, put it up for a vote. Why should you be forced to live with mental illness? That's how it goes. Anyway, I've had these guys over for a minute. Let's go to Dave in Windsor. How are you, sir?
Good, good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. What's up?
Today?
I'm all right.
They already have it. It's called palliative care. I've been through it with my elderly parents.
Okay.
And my elderly in-laws. Yeah, you get to a point where they say, look, let's start the morphine. Mm-hmm. Let's start the fentanyl. This isn't going anywhere. You know what? I'm all for it.
Now, you're talking about terminally ill folks that are where the inevitable is about to take place. You figure start the morphine drip, start the fentanyl drip, things like that.
They do it now. They've been doing it forever.
Sure.
They've been doing it forever. So, if you can make the decision yourself and say, look, I have ALS, I have Alzheimer's, I have this, I have that, there's no recourse, I'm not coming back, I want to go out with dignity, I want to go out being able to say goodbye to my loved ones, God bless you. That's the way it should be.
Do you think, Dave, that should be something individuals should sign up for before they reach the terminally ill? Because as you know, I was just thinking, I think we just passed a birth date for Terry Schiavo. Do you remember her in Florida?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, there was a case in Florida where her husband was fighting against her parents on whether or not, she.
Unhooking her.
Yeah. That was a huge case. I remember that back in the days. I covered that case extensively. What I'm saying is, do you believe that we should, like you and I, who of sound mind, should have sort of a do not resuscitate type of marker on should we end up in that vegetative state.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Personally,
I agree with that.
Absolutely. I have one. Yeah. I don't want to live like that. There's no quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
I told my buddy, if I end up with a stroke, come in and hit me in the head with a 9-iron. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not gonna live like that. I have no desire. I'm not putting a burden on my family.
Yeah, that's.
I know an individual. That was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Who was a doctor, and he got to the point where they took his license away. The day later, he went in his garage and hung himself.
Wow.
He knew what was coming. He knew what was coming. But anyway, enough on that.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
About Trump's remarks about Bob Reiner.
Rob Reiner, yeah, sure.
Rob Reiner, to me, it was one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard in my life, especially with Rob
That's
Reiner.
not fair.
When Rob Reiner exhibited such grace when what's his name was shot, Charlie whatever.
He didn't do. Wait. Rob Reiner didn't do that after Charlie Kirk was shot. That was just literally days ago.
Go look. No.
No, I did. I watched the interview. He did an interview with Piers Morgan. But even with that, even with that, what he said about Charlie Kirk is one thing, but what did he say about Donald Trump after Donald Trump's attempted assassinations on him? Did he speak up? No. Right. In fact,
you know what? That all that aside, the guy has no empathy.
Whom? Period. Who doesn't?
Trump.
Because of what he said about Rob. No. Listen, Dave, we have to be measured when we're talking about these things, because when we use words like never and doesn't, we have to be accurate here. Donald Trump has no empathy because of what he said about Rob Reiner?
So. No. I think in general. I think
really
he has no empathy.
Okay, so
I think he lacks it. Yeah.
So wait a minute. So when when he says rest in peace to both of them, and he begins his comments by saying a very sad thing happened, he doesn't celebrate their murders.
But then he makes it all about himself. It's because of me that he died.
Oh no, that's not what he said. That's not what he said.
Really? Read between the lines.
I did. Well, see, that's the point.
Maybe I interpret things.
That's exactly right, Dave. And I'm not, I don't begrudge you reading between the lines, because, again, what people are looking at what Donald Trump wrote is in an emotional way. They said they couldn't believe he actually injected that thing about Trump derangement syndrome, but then ignored the fact that he said a very sad thing happened and said, may they rest in peace. There was no such grace given.
Then he doubled down the next day and he said, I don't like the guy anyway.
Because he didn't. Was he supposed to lie about it?
But listen, what if you said that about Charlie Kirk? Anybody that said that about Charlie Kirk, first thing the guy questioned is, somebody said, oh, hey, look, Charlie Kirk said people have to die to protect our Second Amendment.
Chris Murphy, wait. That's nonsense. Chris Murphy went so far as to say he never once condemned the shooting of Charlie Kirk after it happened. He went on MSNBC and said that Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans are using Charlie Kirk's death to silence Democrats. And this son of a gun went on to say most volatile things thereafter. And the day before Charlie Kirk was killed, it was Chris Murphy who said, we are at war with these people, and we have to do what's necessary to combat them, no matter what it is.
The political rhetoric is so out of control.
Couldn't agree with you more. But Donald Trump, by comparison, he didn't even say anything about Rob Reiner that even remotely gets as close to what Chris Murphy or many of other Democrats have. Senator Anwar said, cholesterol, do your job at a No Kings rally.
That's wrong. I don't agree with that. That's wrong.
Okay.
That's wrong.
That's what I'm saying. Did Donald Trump wish death on Rob Reiner? Did he say? Did he say? Did he say that the guy deserved to die? No, absolutely not.
It's what he said afterward. He said it's what he said afterward, and how he said it.
I wasn't a fan of his, and I don't think he was good for the country.
Well, I don't think Charlie Kirk was good for the country.
Again, wait. Do you hear any condemnation coming from me?
No.
Of course you won't. You want to know why? It's because, again, my follow-up to you would be, which you've already expressed, even though you didn't think he was good for the country, you don't believe he deserved to die, right?
Absolutely not.
That's my point.
Nobody deserves to die, for their opinion.
And Donald Trump hasn't expressed that at all. But all of a sudden, what he said was tantamount to saying the guy deserved to die, whether he said it or not.
I'll give the guy one thing. He's got a real good way of framing things to say what he doesn't want to say.
Yeah, that's
out loud.
Because he leaves the interpretation up to you, is what you're saying, Dave. Right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll honest with you, I haven't been a fan of the guy.
I know.
I go back to the 80s. All right. I grew
Dave,
up.
You make it clear that you're not a fan of the guy, and guess what? As I've said to plenty of people,
to the 80s.
I don't
been a
listen.
Scam artist and a grifter forever.
It means, look, in the grand scheme of things, your opinion of him is maybe valid in every way. That is, again, it means nothing in the conversation that we're having for this reason. Be accurate and do not don't interpret things to suit the point that you're trying to make about him. If you're going to criticize him, at least be accurate to what he said. Don't say that it sounded like he said something. He either said it or he didn't.
It sounds to me like you're interpreting what he said.
No. I have quoted Donald Trump. I don't interpret what he says. I read what he says. I don't need to interpret, because guess what? I am not emotionally attached to the things that he says, whether I disagree with them or not. I have no emotional attachment. People make it personal.
Well, you know what? That's a good way to be, because I don't know if you have studied any of the philosophers, but if you read Marcus Aurelius and Seneca and go back 2,000 plus years, that's exactly what they'd say.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to have an emotional attachment to.
And I study those guys. Right, exactly.
Thank you, man.
Still, it affects the outcome of our country and how we're doing.
I won't go that far, because I'll put it to you this way. Emotional feelings ebb and flow every day. Every second of the day, people, because they are emotional, it means that their emotions will change every given second. If you become too emotional, you'll be ruled by them. That's how that works. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you, buddy. Let's take another break. Let's get to weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's got you. Getting you home. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
Hey, we're back. Reese on the radio. I'm actually talking to one of Representative John Larson's people right now. Okay, they're actually thinking about getting Larson to come out to Glastonbury on Tuesday. They're going to see what the details are. Okay, let me just tell him real quick. On the air now. Let me see. On the air now. Will text later. Okay. All right. That'll be good. Get Larson on the program and talk about a whole bunch of stuff. I know that Avon nor Glastonbury's in his district, but it's the Salvation Army, and I'm trying to get them as much, political power as I possibly could. Salvation Army is nonpartisan. We should get them to show some love nonetheless. Anyway, I've got about 2 minutes. Let me get to Dwayne because he is on the line. Dwayne, how are you?
Hey, what's going on today?
Man, what's up?
Hey, man. The thing I don't understand is about, I'm kind of a politician in a way, and okay. I'm trying to run for mayor, but in my city, it doesn't work.
Okay.
So another thing is, it's about stupidity. How stupid can people be by coming from another country to join another country that country wants to make their country the same?
You mean, in other words, whatever country they're coming from, they're trying to bring their ideals back here to this country.
Exactly. And they do that, but our administrations have already proved that, is that they want them for the popularity of every city.
Can I explain it to you the way it was explained to me over Thanksgiving dinner from someone who came from a town in Africa, and for some odd reason it's escaping me what country he comes from. Anyway, his name is Fritzy, and I spoke to him at Thanksgiving dinner. He said something very interesting that I hadn't heard. And he said that a lot of these people who come into the country have no interest in assimilating to American ideals. They hate it here. But they know that the opportunity is here in the United States to make money. So the objective is come here, make all the money, send it back to their home country, because if they are deported, all of the money that they sent back, they can live like kings when they get there.
Correct.
So that's what we have to do as American citizens is stop with this nonsense or believing the narrative they're coming here for a better life. There's no truth to that. They are here trying to fleece us for every bit of dollars they can get.
Right. I understand everything you're saying, and I agree with everything. But the thing is, the census thing, and every city and every part of our country has they're blue states, a lot of them, and they're hoarding all these immigrants in there so they can get money from the government.
Yes, but that's there's a fair trade here. What I'm going to do is, Dwayne, stand by real quick. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to explain to you what that's about, too, because it's a fair exchange, to be honest with you. Hold on. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's back. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hey, we are back. By the way, Adam 12 just sent me a text message where I was talking briefly about Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, who has now just joined this medical aid in dying, as they're calling it, M.A.I.D. And Adam 12 just sent this to me. He says, in Canada, poverty or homelessness alone are not legal criteria for receiving medical assistance in dying. Eligibility based strictly on medical criteria, not a person's socioeconomic status. However, the issue of poverty is a subject of significant public debate and concern surrounding Canada's M.A.I.D program. So even that is up for debate in Canada on whether or not you are homeless. So, it's not, again, it's like, what legal barriers do we have? Let's jump them. That's who they are. Anyway, I want to go back to Dwayne, who was talking about migration into the country. Thanks for holding, Dwayne. Much appreciated there.
No problem. You gotta pay the bills.
Yeah. So this sort of exchange, if you will, right? So you have Democrat states who don't mind giving taxpayers money to what would be considered their new voting base, right? Find a way to get them, documented, if you will, be it driver's license or whatever, which will eventually transfer into voter registration cards, which will then mean they will rule forever. So there is a fair exchange. It doesn't matter what these people are here for. The objective is to make sure that they never lose an election, right? That's ensured. Correct. And then using taxpayer dollars to fund them under the auspice of, don't you care? Don't you care about the poor? Don't you care about the needy? That's the exchange back and forth.
Yeah.
So
put the sorrow thing on everyone.
Yeah, but it's not.
Sorry for this.
It looks like it always appears like, when people are asking, it's like, why would these people bring their third world country to this country and not assimilate to the greatest country in the world? They don't see it that way.
Animals or something.
But they don't see us that way. People are under the impression that these people are coming to the country because they see it as a beacon of hope, or as Reagan put it famously, the shining city on a hill. They don't. They see us as a great evil that we're against. In essence, what they're doing to us by fleecing us of our tax dollars and all of that, with all of that stuff to them, they feel like, hey, you had it coming.
I can't believe how I look at people like that. I could point them out, everyone. If I go to the supermarket, everywhere, I know who they are. I could see them. You can
see the resentment in their eyes. You can see the resentment.
I can see them, whether you're white, purple, blue, or green. It doesn't matter what color you are. I can tell what you're thinking.
It's weird. It's so crazy because it's entitlement. It's an entitlement culture that is just absolutely seeped into the fabric of so many Americans in this country. And I think it goes beyond the participation trophy, or that, kids are people too and you're all winners. Nobody's a loser. That it's so much deeper than that.
Right, but I think no one has the education to understand what really is going on. They just go along with what they said, or he said, or she said, or what TV or the media says. They don't go along with their own.
But I will tell you this, Dwayne. See, because I can even hear it in your voice. Because in your voice, there's almost sort of this defeated sort of sense of it all. Like you're saying to yourself, like no matter how hard you try, these people are still that. Blah, blah. You have to actually put in an effort to combat that. You can't cede that ground. You can't immediately sit here and say that these people continue to do these things and then we go like, I get the whole people are who they are, but if you're trying to change hearts and minds, and if you really do, if you're really interested in changing hearts and minds, you have to do the hard work, and that is go bit by bit by bit. I'll admit, I haven't made 100 people change their minds on an ideological level. Maybe I have, I don't know. But personally,
you probably did.
No, but personally, the people who tell me, I'll admit, thank you. There are at least tens of people who have said to me personally, didn't think of it that way, and because of you, I became, either conservative or I started to lean that way.
Here's another thing I heard today.
Yes.
Like immigrants that've been here, they probably are citizens, and they've been questioned on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I walk out of my house with my ID. Mm-hmm. I have a driver's license like everybody else, or an ID. So that became a thing today on the news, I heard. It's like, well, people are being like stopped and stopped on the street. Let me see your paperwork. There's no paperwork. It's a freaking ID.
I would say to look at you this way when you're looking at the news. Do not look at the news as a macro. The job of the news media is to sell the story as a macro. Yeah. I always say
I use it as fun.
Yeah. No, but I always tell people if you see a target on fire during a protest, right? If you see it on 1,000 channels, people have a tendency to believe that 1,000 targets are on fire. It's just one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you kind of have to look at it like television gives that auspice of like, oh my God, it's everywhere. No, it is one isolated incident being magnified. That's all it is.
Right. So it's fake news, basically.
It is, but it also you have to remember it really succumbs to user error. Like you as a person have to be objective when you're watching the news.
But I mean, when you walk out of your house, whether you're here illegally or illegally, you should have an ID on you. You don't have to have a book.
They know that, and all of the people who are protesting or losing their crap behind it, they know it as well. Dwayne, thank you so much. I got to get to some others, man. I apologize to you. Thank you, man.
It was great talking to you.
Thank you, man.
See you again.
You too. Frankie, baby, Oh, sorry, that's the wrong person. I'm sorry, Mike. I'll get to you in a second. I got to get to Frankie. He's been on for a bit. Hey, Frankie.
Listen, get your hands on some silver. It's up 11%.
You're not going to call me here every day screaming about silver, Frank.
Listen, people are hurting. They need to make money.
They need to make money, but they have to have money to invest in silver.
It's only 66.
This is where you get in trouble, Frank. This is where you get in trouble. You are at the finish line and not realizing that some people haven't even left the starting gate yet. Some people don't have money to invest in silver. And some people would not even take... Remember, some people wouldn't even take the $166 that they have in their bank, even if they have $100. Not one person I know of, an average person, would take $66 right now and invest it into silver. They wouldn't do it. To leave $34 in their pocket, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it.
Read up on what J.P. Morgan has done. It's brilliant, and it's legal. They have cornered the silver market.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have the ability to invest in silver, Frank insists that you do it now. Buy it now.
Get a truck and back it up. They have cornered the silver market, and this time it's legal.
Okay, Frank, I'm going to give you an opportunity to teach some people out here before I let you go. What would you say to the average schmo working paycheck to paycheck and how he should invest in silver? Should he take $66 and put it in a nest egg and hold on to it?
No, you take possession of it and you buy it on the dips. You have to understand.
No. I'm saying you got a guy who has $66 that he could put to the side. Should he wait and take that $66, or should he keep putting $66 together every time he gets a paycheck for a month and then take that money and invest in silver?
No, right now he should take the 66 and buy every time it goes down. I'm telling you, this thing is
okay.
to me. Listen to me. This thing's going to go to $300 or more. Read up on what J.P. Morgan has done to the silver market. It's one of the most brilliant things I've seen in my life, and it's legal.
Frank,
it's legal what they're doing.
I understand.
I'm warning people. Believe me, a year from now, when it's 200, you'll say, "Geez, Roseanne, Frank, we should have listened to Frank."
Frank is like the town crier. Thank you, Frank.
I didn't come to America to lose money. Remember that.
Good night. Goodbye. Now let's go to him on the line. You love him. You waited for him. White Mike is on the line. Hello, sir.
Hey, man. So I listened to your caller a couple callers ago, and you guys were talking about Rob Reiner and Trump and all this stuff. And,
yes.
I don't know why the hell we think we have to always take the high road. I'm happy when a lot of people die. I don't care at all. Doesn't bother me.
You know what? First of all, you take my stance in this. This whole deal about taking the high road or demanding that Donald Trump show an amount of grace after this, when everyone else is about to say, anything under the sun about him and everybody else, that baffles my mind. I'm going, no, I'm not playing by their rules where they get to do whatever they want and then the rest of us get to hold fast. Nonsense.
There's a lot of things for which I have schadenfreude, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Whenever I see a liberal white woman get attacked by a savage black person in the street, I giggle. Because it's like, I told you it was going to happen.
It's the scary part about it is that everybody knows that, you are a callous person nonetheless. But you know what? I can't help but say that there has to be some outrage for those kinds of things when it happens. The part that I get, literally get immediately interested in is the way in which people squirm to reconcile that attack, like the one in Charlotte, North Carolina. Those attacks are like the girl who was attacked in New York City, the NYU student who was slapped on the behind and then slapped in the face. I look at that stuff every time and I just go, watch these people squirm in trying to tell these stories without, in essence, somewhere demonizing the victim and glorifying the abuser.
Look, here's the thing. If some liberal congressperson, if Jasmine Crockett got beat to death by a 14-year-old Jamarcus with gold toofuses and a record 15 miles long, I'm not going to be sad. I'm going to giggle. I'm going to go, ha, ha, ha. I don't care. I don't care at all.
Question becomes, how do they spin that? Because I get you. Because in essence, look, I'll admit, yours are kind of like, yours are fast calories. You're going to laugh at that should it happen to her. Where I, on the other hand, I'm going to say to myself, how do you spin that? Because in essence, one of their heroes, the person they promote, is assaulted, and the person who assaulted them is what they've considered the protected victimizer or the protected assaulter in their sort of weird worldview.
I laugh when these NFL players get their houses burgled by illegal aliens because I know they all voted for Democrats. So you got what you deserve. Ha, ha, ha. And when Nancy Pelosi dies, I'm going to dance a jig. When Charles Schumer dies, I'm dancing a jig. Basically, any Democrat dies, I'm dancing a jig from now on. I don't care. Any liberal Hollywood person, I don't care. I liked Rob Reiner. He made some of the greatest movies of my lifetime. He was a fantastic director, and he was an a-hole.
I think, you know what, that's the interesting part about this, is that it almost acts as if those two things cannot exist together. Like I said, I made that story. I tell that story all the time about Gwyneth Paltrow and the woman who wouldn't go to Trump's vineyard. I'm like, I don't like Gwyneth Paltrow, but I liked her in those Iron Man movies. I thought her character was quirky. I can separate the two.
You can have an uncle who sent you to college but molested you. Two things can be one thing, right?
No, that one is not going to fly, you lunatic. God bless you, man. I love you.
Yes, sir. All right.
I'll talk to you later. It's like he sits there with a magic 8-ball of evil. What am I going to spew today? God bless him. I'm already joking over here. Anyway, tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Thursday, right? Okay. On the program is Linda Sinkowitz. She'll be here from Fight Voter Fraud. You do not want to miss tomorrow's program. She is going to explain everything that she has researched, and she has gone, I mean, it's an exhaustive effort that she has made to fight voter fraud in this state, nationally. She travels back and forth to Washington often to get more and more information, to give more and more information to the people who need to have it. She will be here tomorrow. We'll talk to her about her knowledge of elections and the fraud that takes place in them. If you wish to, just give me a holler. For those of you also who are asking about where's the Facebook version of the show, I know that I've told you before. I'll tell you again. It's because they put me on live sort of jail. Is that what they call it? Where I'm not allowed to broadcast live until after New Year's Eve. So even though, hey, by the way, are we on the air on New Year's Eve? Do we work that day? You don't think so? New Year's Eve, we're on. Oh, look at that. Okay, so no. I mean, I hear that we're running. No, I don't think we're on New Year's Eve. Because if I have it right, I think that, what's the fate? Brian is going to be on the 23rd or the 24th. Okay, he's going to be on the 24th from Avon Farms, and then we go Christmas music after that. No, did I say New Year's? I meant Christmas Eve. I apologize. Okay, Christmas Eve. That's right. So after Brian and company on Christmas Eve, we're out. Okay. All right. Then we're out. We're not back until the Friday after Christmas. Anyway, as I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night. Pleasant tomorrow. Mark Christopher, he's getting you home. He's in the BPS Traffic Center.